Good morning. Welcome to another Wisdom Wednesday. So at 4 years old is when I first started playing football. I played for this team called Winton Hills Falcons, Winton Terrace Falcons, and they were horrible, like absolutely horrible. So decided to go ahead and quit. We were doing a whole bunch of football drills that I did not need to do. So decided to quit. And fast forward about a couple of years later, at 6, 7 years old, I started playing soccer. So playing soccer, it wasn't for me. I was not the soccer type of person, to say the least. But what does all this have to do with you? So with me, at a young age, 4 years old, I'm a very introspective person. So I thought back, and that was the first time that I became aware that you can quit. So when I say quit, it was during the middle of the season, or towards the end of the season, but we were terrible, horrible football drills, everything. Things that I did not need to be doing at that age. However, I was, about 3/4 done throughout the season, and I just quit, just stopped playing. And with that being the first time me ever doing anything from a quitting point of view, I bring this up to you guys because you really have to know when to quit. You have to know when to quit, you have to know how to quit, and you have to know when to pivot. So I know in a society, in our society, it's very easy to get this feeling of, you can't quit. Who wants to quit? Nobody wants to quit. Nobody wants to be labeled a quitter, right? So I completely understand where you may be coming from right there. And I'm the same way. I'm not a person that just, quits. So with me not quitting, it really, as time progressed and I came back to football at 9 years old and I played for Hilltop Hawks, it was a great time, but I learned a lot. And, one of the things that I learned was that at that time, it was okay for me to quit, quote unquote, but it really wasn't quitting, it was pivoting. Because when I came back at 9 years old, I was ready. So I was actually ready to play football. I was ready to, do everything that I set out to do from a football point of view. So you have to be comfortable sometimes of being like, wait a minute, this road that I'm walking down right now is not, for me. I have to pivot. And that's with life. That's with life in all avenues, from, business to relationships. That's, life. You have to be, you have to be comfortable knowing when to pivot and not feeling like you're a failure because you are pivoting. So that was at 9 years old. And, fast forward a little bit, a lot later, actually, I ended up just this last go around with me being a realtor. Excuse me. With me being a realtor. So with me being a realtor, I, was full ahead, comfortable with being a realtor. I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing now. It's a new stage of life. I'm experiencing something different. I'm happy. I'm excited. This is what's up. However, once I got about, I would say, it was about 5 months, 4 or 5 months of me actually having my realtor license, and I got my, first listing and those type of things, I realized that being a realtor isn't for me. So not only did I, stop being a realtor, I dropped the realtor license and I just quit, basically. And I don't, I say quit because it's, it really is harsh words. It makes you feel like, dang, quit. It gives you a negative feeling, kind of. However, I really like to think of it as pivoting. So I pivoted. So with me pivoting in my own life, I just, double down on myself, my brand, and, also what I've been doing with wholesaling real estate. So it's not a failure if you pivot. And don't be so hung up on feeling like you have to finish or that you've come so far that you shouldn't pivot. Don't be hung up on that. Never value the length of a relationship more than the strength of a relationship, right? Like, just because somebody knew you long, that don't mean they won't do you wrong. So do not look at things like, you're a failure because you quit, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a situation, business or any other type of situation that you're in. If it doesn't fit you, just quit. No different than with books, right? So I'm one of those people, like I said, I feel like when I start something, I have to finish. That's just who I am to a fault. So it's like a reprogramming of myself to just quit something and not feel a way about it. But, you know, like I said, me being an introspective person, thinking back to the first time I ever quit anything, it really helped me out and it brought me perspective, because I realized when I quit, when I came back to that same situation, I came back way better, not only physically because I was older, right? But also mentally. I was mentally into it. Like, I was ready. So it's no different than with you from the standpoint of, you know, quitting, right? So with me, and you can practice this in little things, right? So this is what, you know, I do like now, because I'm getting more comfortable with it. Getting more comfortable with pivoting. If you're reading a book, right? So say you're listening to a book, and you do this with music. I know you do. You know, you hear a song, you don't like it, you skip it. However, with books, I feel like we tend to think more highly of them. So from a standpoint of, like, if you're reading a book, then, you know, you feel like you have to finish the book. And, you know, this is for anybody that likes reading out there. If you're reading the book, you feel like you have to finish the book because you started the book. So you like, man, how can I not, you know, finish this book? Maybe there's something that I'm missing, you know, in this book. So I'm going to stay and read the rest of it until I understand what's happening. But reality is, go with your feeling. Whenever you feel like it's time to move on, you don't get the book no more, you feel like it's not for you, move on to the next. That's literally how you got to think of it, guys. We have so many choices, so many options in our lifetime, that the only thing that really guides us is our feeling. So if you feel like it's time to quit, quit. And don't look back. Don't feel bad about it. Don't do any of that, because you felt like that for a reason. So do not deny your true, you know, feeling of what you're feeling, and just go with it. Go with your instinct. Your feeling, your intuition, all that already knows what's right and what's wrong. Only thing that fights it sometimes is our feelings, and it makes, you know, things gray. It doesn't make it simple, black and white. All right, guys, as always, of course, get the stepping. But, you know, I really think that pivoting on your journey is going to be the most important thing on your journey, because, you know, where I'm at right now, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't comfortable with pivoting from, you know, this social media stuff that I'm doing right now. I didn't, you know, when I first, I didn't plan on doing Wisdom Wednesdays. I didn't plan on doing certain things on my YouTube channel. I didn't plan on certain things. I just felt like I should do them, and then I pivoted. And I felt like I shouldn't do other things, and I pivoted. It's the same thing without everything. Whether you're a sports person, you got to go on your instincts. If you're in the middle of a play, if you see something, just pivot. Just go with your instinct. Don't second guess. As always,